First, you must realize that you have no idea before you can know the idea. We scan across all the frequencies if we want to learn anything new. Let us begin.
What has physics done for me lately?
Furthermore, the equation E is equal mc squared.
We have now acquired a fateful power to alter and to destroy nature.
That's like when you're in physics and you go to Dreamworld saying, oh, this is a physics excursion.
Science. What is it all about?
The whole of human history all falls in the dust of one stroke of the nail file. You can't really get to grips with evolution unless you realise what an enormous amount of time.
Our own planet is only a tiny part of the vast cosmic tapestry, a starry fabric of worlds yet untold.
You are tuned into what can only be described as the best radio station on this blue dot we call Earth. It is, of course, 4ZZZ, your community broadcaster. Be it on your conventional wireless radio by tuning into the classic frequency of 102.1 FM, digital devices such as DAB or smart speaker, listening via the Community Radio Plus app, or streaming us live from our sensational website at 4ZZZ.org.au. And of course, you can always listen back to our show, or any 4ZZZ show for that matter, using the ingenious on-demand feature also found at that URL. We also now have a weekly podcast of the show for your listening pleasure, curated by Toby, a condensed version of the show without the music, which my mum prefers. Just search for our show name, which is, of course, No Idea, spelt with a K, your weekly dose of science. And joining me for this episode to speak about all things science are two of my favourite science influencers. Good morning, Peter.
Hello,
Good morning, Gabe.
Good morning, Max. It is show number 674.
I don't know if I like this bit.
No.
You don't like the bit?
No.
Which show
It just
number
seems
it is?
kind of
Are
like,
you going to talk about
like a
what
filler.
the relevance of 674 is, or?
Yeah, I have a whole thing ready.
Right.
So I don't want to do it anymore.
What's 674?
You're crossing your arms.
There's a star called Kepler 674.
There's probably a star called Kepler 673, 675,
I'm
676.
assuming that's how the number system works, yeah.
Yeah, so then there's just going to be a star every... Anyway.
1,000 light years away,
Yes.
which has an Earth-like planet around it, which is 3.5 times as massive as Earth, which is pretty cool.
More ocean.
But it is, I think, about 2% the distance from its sun that we are
No
from our
ocean.
sun. So, yeah.
Unlikely to
Did
have
you say
fish.
1,000 light years away?
1,000 light years away, Max.
You take Voyager 1, which is interstellar. It is
Yeah.
one day. No, what is it? Yeah.
What?
A light day. One light day away.
One light day away.
away. So it just shows you 1,000 light
We
years.
like invent warp and I missed it or something. What's going on? Oh, if you take this one, it's only a day.
So it takes 24 hours to communicate with it.
Coming
Gotcha.
up on the show, Max, I've got some stuff about a new alternative meat. We haven't covered our alt meats in a while, so I've got one for us, made from sunflowers.
I saw the headline of this.
And I've also got a little experiment I want to run later on in the show with some music from a study that's been done in using bark.
Bark.
Like
I'm not
woof or like tree.
Like, like the composer.
Yeah.
What do you got, Max?
I'm reprising my Robo food again because it went so well last time. So this is part of the Swiss and a couple of European universities trying to make fully edible robots. So we'll see how that goes.
Peter, what do you got?
Talking about food. We've got a big food-filled show today. Talking about food straight up. I'm still thinking about
The dog barking.
all that's in my head is barking at a tree.
Okay.
And for more like that, make sure you subscribe to
Oh,
What
no.
to Say.
What are you playing us in with, Max?
Take it away, Peter.
All right. How much do you guys think you eat in a year?
In kilograms?
Generally?
A lot.
In weight?
Quantifiable? Okay. 1 ton.
Because I hadn't really thought about this, to be honest,
1
before I read
ton?
this story.
Yeah.
1 ton. Wow. You reckon it's more than 10 times your own weight, Max?
Possibly.
Or for you as a 3-foot man, more like 20 times your own weight.
I got a good low center of gravity, let's just say that.
Yeah. Maybe it is. Maybe it is 10 times your own weight. What do you reckon it is a day? if you could sort of reverse engineer it, maybe like a kilo of food a day.
If
That's
that.
about right.
Yeah, I think
if
so.
that, which is about 300.
65 kilos.
300 kilos. That's what I'm going with.
Yeah.
You're actually bang on before. It's about 10 times your body weight every year. About 10
Does that
times.
include water then? That's a
It's
enormous amount.
about, for the average person, it's about 600 kilos a year, which sounds like not actually as much as I'd assume for a whole year's worth of food. Like, I mean, I guess if you see it in front of you, it seems like a big pile. But at the same time, thinking about all the people in the world, that doesn't seem like that much, to be honest. I actually thought that was less than what I would have expected. But you know what it's a whole lot less than? A whale. It's a whole lot less food than what a whale is.
I thought you were going to go eco-radio on us and say how much wastage we have.
Actually, yeah, I don't know if that takes that into account. It did say eat. It was like how much you consume.
Yeah.
But yeah, God, we probably have a whole lot more waste. But
Yeah.
you know, it doesn't have that much waste and eats a lot of food. Whales. Specifically today, we're talking about short-fin pilot whales off of Hawaii. So short-fin pilot whales play a major ecological role in Hawaiian waters. They feed mainly on squid, like almost exclusively. They do also sometimes do octopus and some fish, but they're pretty solid on squid. They
And that's
love
why they have that
squid.
red covering, isn't it, when they excrete stuff?
Yeah, things that eat squid can have that. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's like sperm whales also have that.
Yeah.
So anyway, the one of the things they do is they actually dive quite a lot. One of the things they're known for is diving. When they're traveling, they can spread out over like an area about half mile translation.
A mile. I don't
1
know.
kilometre.
What is that about?
One
yeah, it's
kilometre.
about
Thank
a
you.
K, isn't
I
it?
really don't know
Just
how
a-
big that is. So they can be about a kilometre away from each other within their own pods. The pods are about 25 to 50 animals, so it's a pretty big pod if you think about like the pods that we see of whales or classic or like humpback whales or dolphins. Not that many, so it's quite a bit in a single pod. The males typically have more than one mate. The group is usually about 8 mature females and a male. And males will leave their birth school, whereas females will stay in theirs for their entire lives. Like most whales, they are matriarchal societies. The men just sort of go around and fulfill their reproductive duties. So they're also known, the fun thing about pilot whales is they are known as the cheetahs of the deep sea because they have these high-speed dives, very, very deep, to chase and capture large squids. Like not just little squids, large squids. And so up until now, though, scientists didn't know how much energy these whales needed per day to do these dives. So how, like, because obviously you eat and then you expend energy, and the more energy you expend, the more you need to eat. So you're kind of trapped in this balance of how much energy do I expend and how much food do I need to bring in, right? So they were trying to think about that. Like, how much energy do they need per day? How many squid is that in their lives? And then the big question here is there enough squid in the local populations to support them? Squid fishing is a huge problem all over the world. There's lots of overfishing of squid. So I guess it's a big question of like, okay, well, how many do we actually need just for these whales alone? It's a pretty basic thing about ecology and conservation that we're looking at here. So this research comes to us from a bunch of different countries, but from the University of Hawaii at Manoa. QS ranking, please.
122.
I think it's going to be 250.
It is 546. That American bias coming in again, my friends. I will say Hawaii has like some of the best marine science institutes in the world, so they probably are individually a lot higher, but the university is lower. So what they did is they went offshore and they added these suction cup tags. So we've heard about these a lot. There's a lot of cool things that they use in oceanography nowadays and tracking animals. So this is a multi-sensor tag. It does not have to be put on by adhesive. It's just a little suction cup, and they put it behind their blowhole, just behind the blowhole, so that the camera could capture the feeding behavior during their dives. So it had obviously a camera with a light so that they could see in the dark. They had motion data, so that includes how fast they were going, what direction they were going, what like way they're facing. We've seen this before with some of the dives. They had a hydrophone so that they could detect the audio, so that they could hear echolocation because they make
So it's
clicks.
basically just a mobile phone on the back of their... On the back
God,
of their,
yeah, close,
behind their
honestly.
blowhole. Yeah.
Just without the games. Like the little kiddie pilot whales are probably really bored, but they do pretty much everything else that you'd want them to do. It's like one of those cameras you attach to your car.
Yeah.
So that is right on their back, on their blowhole. And then they also had a drone hovering about 25 meters above the whales. And
That's cool.
Just as a reminder, above, I think it's about 10 or 15 meters, they can't actually hear or notice the drones. So they're a really good way of doing low impact monitoring of marine animals. But they had these drones above there, and they essentially filmed them as they surfaced so they could estimate the whale's length. Why do you think they wanted to know their length?
The length of the whale.
The length of the whale.
Yeah, age and size and that sort of stuff.
Mass is
Male or
more.
male,
It's
female?
more about their. It's crucial for calculating their metabolic rate. because they're thinking about food here, right? We're looking
Right.
at food and how much they need to take in. So it's
Yep.
crucial that you know how much they need. So anyway, once they recovered the tags, which by the way was sometimes 50, so this is like 75 kilometers away, maybe
Really?
more, 100 and something kilometers away from where they actually put them on, which is really interesting. They found the tags, and this is what they revealed. So 118 deep dives were recorded across the 8 individuals. They only had 8, but 118 deep dives between them. The maximum depth that they saw was 864 meters, which is huge.
Yeah.
It's absolutely huge. And remember, they're doing this on a single breath, so crazy. And they do about 39 dives per whale per day. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up. It must be really annoying to have to go back up to the surface to breathe. You know, you're like, all the food's down there, and I just have to, excuse me a minute. Like, imagine if you were eating at a restaurant and you had to just bolt across like a few blocks away every couple of minutes just to make sure. That'd be so annoying.
Imagine if your fridge is at the bottom of the pool.
Yeah, exactly. You had to just like, oh, all right,
annoying,
down we
wouldn't
go. Seems exhausting.
Yeah.
Anyway, they were doing that, and what does this mean in terms of kilojoules, right? How much are we putting out here? The dive energy expenditure was about 73.8 kilojoules per minute.
Okay.
So pretty
Wait,
significant.
how much?
73.8 kilojoules per minute.
Okay.
And the surface rest, like when they're not diving, was about 44.4, which to me actually isn't that big of a difference. Like they're not spending considerably more energy to me. It's about an extra 50%, but I would have guessed way more. Like if I'm going for a run, I feel like I'm way above my normal resting rate.
Yeah.
This seems like they're like casually having a stroll. Anyway, so then they used that to calculate the daily energetic requirements for each of the animals. And they also listened for those acoustic signatures of the prey capture. So these buzzers of their echolocation that was sort of telling them when they were lunging at a squid. And from that, they were able to estimate that they captured about 4 squid per deep dive. So 39 dives a day, 4 squid per dive. Each squid provides about 560 kilojoules of digestible energy. Obviously, that changes depending on the squid itself, but that was an average. And so then they put all of that together. And if you, like, I can see Gabe's got a calculator out right now. Gabe, how many squid do you think each whale must eat per day?
Oh, I have no idea. If they're doing 39 dives, then I don't know. Maybe
100 squid.
And 4 squid per
100
dives.
100
Yeah,
squid.
exactly. 120.
It was 82 to 202 squid per day.
Yeah.
Which
I
is
was
quite a lot.
looking up how many kilojoules a human
Yes,
per
exactly.
minute
Yeah.
Right.
as a comparison. What did you say it was for a whale?
At rest, it was 44.4.
44.4. So a human, just based on the Australian government's data on how much an average Australian consumes, adult Australian consumes per day, we're consuming about 6 kilojoules worth of food.
Okay, so that's quite a lot less.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was swimming, I guess it would be higher.
Quite a lot less in general compared to a whale. So I think
That's
fair.
true, actually. I didn't even think about size. I was just like, well, I'm not swimming, so that's easier for me.
I mean, we had the good idea getting out of the ocean too and staying
Well,
on
yeah,
land.
I was going to say, we have quite an easier lifestyle. We're not diving for food. So, what does this come out to? 82 to 202 squid per day. That is about 73,730 squid per whale per year.
Yeah.
Imagine if you ate 73,000 squid per year.
Wow.
That's just so many squid. And part of that comes from having a singular diet.
And at
really, like,
$40
they've
a
just
kilo,
really-
it's expensive.
The
You're
cost
right,
of
Max.
living is hitting the whale hard, Max.
It really is, because they've chosen an expensive food to be really narrowed in on. But with an estimated 4,000 to 8,000 short fin pilot whales around Hawaii, the total annual squid consumption is about 88,000 tons.
Yeah, right.
So many kilograms. We eat 600 kilograms per year. It's just crazy. But the good news is that this, despite that being a huge number, it's actually only a small fraction of the region's current squid biomass. There's a lot of squid around there, a lot of squid. But it does mean that if they ever have issues with overfishing, they know how much they need for at least this population of pilot whales. So really cool bit of work. It just feels like something that's, just some fun maths that you get to do.
And with the rising temperature in the climate and the hotter waters, then the squid are actually thriving in that, aren't they? They're actually speeding up their life cycles, allowing them to
Some of them.
reproduce more
It would
quickly.
depend, but I would say in somewhere like Hawaii, a lot of animals are going to colder waters. So because Hawaii is like right on the equator,
Yep.
you don't. It's likely things will be moving away, if anything. But yeah, I would never assume that any change to the system would be hugely beneficial. Things like jellyfish we know are going up really
Right.
quickly.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't know. I wouldn't guess about squid personally.
Now, Owen texted in. If you want to text in, it's 0420 626 733. And we're back on the goldfish bent. He wants to know how many calories does a goldfish consume.
I'm going to take a wild stab in the dark and say 1. If we're 6, it's got to be less than 1 kilojoule. Like 0.5 of a kilojoule. But don't worry, we're looking it up.
Exactly.
Those crabs that sort of use their claws to thump on the ground, and the vibrations tell the female crabs how big the male one is by thumping around on it. And it got us thinking about, there's this whole thing, it occurs a lot in mammals, where a lot of mammals have evolved this ability to fake deeper vocalizations in the males as a way of appearing larger. So I don't think these crabs have quite gotten there yet, although there would be a benefit to being able to fake a deeper vibration for the male crabs. All sorts of animals. Koalas do it, lions do it, chimps do it, humans do it, all sorts of monkeys do it.
Yeah, humans do it.
The males,
So annoying.
males of the species are able to...
What are you talking about, Peter?
Well, that's right, Max. That's what I was thinking about, you know?
I'm going to tune into 4ZZZ. And the show is No Idea with me, Max. We've got Issy in the room.
Hello.
We've got Gabe. We've got Peta. Should I just throw to Issy on this one?
No. Very funny,
Yeah, Izzy, what you got? What's the weirdest science you've come across today, Izzy?
Oh, goodness.
Toads.
The transport, Brisbane Transport. I love a
Someone
bus.
on transport, yeah, fair
The
enough.
disappearing act. That buses do.
Hit us up, Gabe.
I've got sunflower meat for you today, Max.
Looks
We
appetizing.
talk about alternate meats a lot. I think it's one of the things, one of the services we offer is keeping you up to date on the latest alternative meats
Because that's our
Hell
job.
and what's
yeah.
available.
The best service we offer is
I think that's
just letting you know that things are coming.
It's, my
Interesting.
personal favourite is still the grain-fed beef.
Yeah, grain. No, it's beef-fed grain.
Beef-fed grain.
It's
sorry.
beef-fed grain. Please, not
Beef-fed
grain-fed
grain.
beef.
I actually thought about that too and still got it the wrong way around. Beef-fed
It's
grain.
because in our heads,
bits of
grain-fed beef doesn't exist anymore.
lab
Only
beef
beef-fed
porridge.
grain.
And so alt meats, there's this study that's come out has said the alt meat industry is going to be worth the equivalent of about 130 billion by plant-based foods 130 billion by 2030, and plant-based protein, which is those alt meats, 7 billion Australian by
Plant-based foods is a lot of
2027.
food, to be
Yeah.
honest. Like, it's everything that's not meat, too.
But
It's
27
like
billion
flour.
AUD by 2027 for plant-based proteins. So this study out of Brazil has looked into, well, we have a lot of sunflowers and a lot of leftover stuff from sunflowers, from the oil and other things that it's used for. Can we turn this into alternative meat? It's from the Institute of Food Technology in Sao Paulo, in Brazil, and the University of Campinas. QS ranking for the second one.
685.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a range. 700 to 800.
Oh, damn, that was mine. 800 to 900.
It's also in Sao Paulo, I believe. It's 233.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good.
My
And this
apologies.
research was financially supported by FAPISP.
Who's that?
Which
By
is this-
who?
By pardon?
FAPISP. The Sao Paulo Research Foundation. It has an actual acronym in Portuguese, which I'm not going to attempt.
Oh, that's fair enough.
To make this, start the process of making meat from sunflowers, you have to make a meal that begins by extracting the oil out of sunflower seeds, and then you make the outer husks and some other compounds have to be removed, and then it gives it a darker color, and you break it down, and it becomes a meal. So it's sort of the leftover
The outer
after
husks
the
are the
oil.
bits that the cockatoos pull off,
You get
isn't
rid
it?
of the you get rid of the outer
Yeah.
husk, you get rid of the oil, and you can make a meal out of that. And then from that you can make a couple different things. So they say from 100 kilograms of seeds, you can get 20 kilograms of the husks and 80 kilograms of the kernels. And then you take the oil out of that 80 kilograms, which leaves you with 40 kilos of oil and 40 kilograms of meal. So about 40% of the seeds can be turned into meal. And then what they did with it is turn it into flour and protein powder, and to see which one turns into a better potential product. What do you
Right.
make into a flour or into a powdered protein? The protein powder included 36% of the meal was in that protein. The protein was 36% of the sunflower meal, 15% water, and a whole bunch of other stuff in there as well to turn it into this protein powder. And then they made it. They added tomato powder. They added spices. They added sunflower oil. They added linseed oil. They added olive oil and water. They mixed it, turned it into balls, microwaved it for 7 minutes, and served it as
Are they hungry?
hamburgers.
The kitchen run out or something.
Yeah, I think it did. They turned it into hamburgers, and then they did touch, sight, smell, taste, and sound tests on it. I love this. Because so often they I don't know.
The sound of my burger is critical to me.
I think so too. They did chemical analysis and put under a microscope to look at the structure and all that sort of stuff as well. But I love that they tasted it, because so often in these studies they don't talk about how it tastes, and someone's eaten a bit. Yeah,
that's right.
But they just don't talk about it because
do they draw straws?
Ethically approved.
And a cheeky nibble.
I've thrown the photo into something for you to look at, Max. What do you reckon?
Yeah, well, it looks like sugar, brown sugar.
Yeah.
It
what
looks.
Brown sugar are you buying?
I was gonna say it looks like.
It's not meant to look like that.
Sunflowers.
It just looks like your kind of faux mince that you'd find. When I was vegetarian, this was like the backbone of my diet. But yeah, I get what the brown sugar-esque. It is that dark brown
it looks
sugar.
like soil.
Quite a bit clumpier.
Yeah.
It does look just like a flour mix to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not really meaty. It's
like a brownie before the butter.
Yeah.
Something like that. Anyway, they said the textured sunflower protein had the best consistency and high levels of protein, along with healthy fats like monosaturated fatty acids, and they had lots of iron, zinc, and magnesium and manganese in there as well. They said the taste and smell was neutral. In other words, it didn't really have a taste or a smell.
Okay.
I was wondering what adjective they would use to describe it. Neutral is not one that I typically go to when I eat food.
Neutral.
I'm going to the grocery store. I hope I find something neutral.
Labelless. Which their sell is that it means it opens the door to putting whatever taste and whatever you want onto it.
What if I want the taste of beef?
Well, that's it. Yeah, you're not getting that. You're getting the taste of neutral.
You can't fake that.
And they said the texture was better in the protein powder, but they say that, and we talk about this a lot when we talk about alternative meats, that it's one of the actual big blocks at the moment is the texture of the structure and the texture and how you build that. So a lot of people with the lab grown meats, they're trying things like mycelium, like fungal.
The mycelium's the one I've got my money on.
Frameworks, and then they can sort of
give it a bit of fibre.
The cells of beef within the lab on that framework and give it a bit of texture and fibre. But they say potentially they could give it a fibre structure by extrusion, which is effectively pushing it through a small gap and trying to get it into basically when you do mincing, like actual mincing, you put a whole bunch of chunks of meat and then you push it through a fine sort of sieve looking thing, and then the mince comes out the other end. That's how you get the mince texture.
This is a really in-depth explanation of mincing. No, we get it.
That's they could do something similar with this and maybe get some structure built into it by forcing it through,
like 3D printer or something.
No, just like forcing
opposite
it
Max,
through.
I think.
Not at
like a blender.
Just forcing it through a small hole and trying to get some texture into it that way, and a bit more of a meaty appearance. But I'm left unconvinced by this sunflower meat. The photo does not look great. It looks like a mash of flour and a red mash of flour, and with a taste.
Looks dry.
The glowing review of neutral taste. I think sunflower meat is not at the top of my list of alt meats.
Which is important because that's what you come to No Idea for. A list of alternative meats and where they're at. And this one's low, so we don't recommend it.
That's what I got for you, mate.
I think what we're learning generally at the moment is a brain really isn't necessary for thought or learning. Like, I think we knew for a long time that you didn't need a brain to react. It does. Oh my goodness, finally.
I can hear you. I can hear you gearing up for that.
Yeah, because he doesn't have a brain, so he has to make all that noise.
His arms and legs had to come to a committee agreement to make the joke.
You tune into 4ZZZ, and the show is No Idea with me, Max. We've got Issy, we've got Gabe, and we've got Peta, and we've got part 3 of this. Earlier this year, I spoke about edible robots as part of the Robo Food Initiative. That was back on the 23rd of April this year. Well, I've got a follow-up study. Soft biodegradable robots are used in various fields, such as environmental monitoring and targeted drug delivery. And
medicinal drugs. They're not like trying to figure out how to best get it to the cartels. They've got that sorted.
Ask their cocaine sharks about that. And are designed to completely disappear after performing their tasks. However, The main problem is that they generally rely on conventional power sources, that is batteries, containing lithium, which is
shouldn't
toxic.
swallow batteries.
And no.
No. Don't do that.
Really not recommended.
In a new paper published in the journal Advanced Science, researchers from the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology, Lausanne, QS ranking
460.
Yeah, 123.
300.
22. Describe how they
Wait,
developed.
really? 22?
Describe how they developed a fully edible power source, a valve system, an actuator, a completely edible robot in keeping with RoboFood's goals. The power source consists of 2 compartments, one containing citric acid, that's the acid you find in lemons, and the other containing bicarb soda. To generate power, the acid drops onto the baking soda, causing it to fizz and release pressurized gas, a form of kinetic energy. The gas flows into the actuator, which is made from soft, flexible gelatin. As gas pressure builds, the actuator physically bends, forcing external robot movement. Job done. When the pressure gets too high, it is relieved through a valve, which is a thin, circular gelatin shell with a slit. As the pressure drops, the relief valve closes, allowing pressure to build up once again to drive the next cycle of rhythmic movement. This continuous cycle results in self-sustained robotic motion, similar to those air dancers you see outside motor dealerships, but on a much smaller scale.
I love that. Wacky waving inflatable arm man.
The system is highly programmable, allowing it to be finely tuned for specific scenarios by adjusting the size of the openings through which the acid drips.
Highly programmable. That sounds incredible.
Yeah.
Highly programmable.
That's what they reckon.
Yeah, we can do whatever you want with this. We can make it lemon meringue flavoured.
They can control the rate at which the gas is generated. This in turn
Would you taste it? Hang on, sorry.
Yeah, you could. You could eat it.
You could taste it. So then why wouldn't they make it a flavour? If it's citric, so citric acid is very, it's acidic. It tastes like a lemon.
Yeah.
And then bicarb soda
Doesn't
tastes
taste that
kind of
good.
bad.
Yeah.
It's not great. It's pretty alcohol in it.
Yeah.
So then what could we make?
I don't know.
What could we make? Put some vanilla in there? Put some like nice lemon chemicals in there? I reckon
nice
if you
battered
lent
fish.
into the lemon flavour, you could do it.
The number of repetitive movements can be controlled by the relief valve. Additionally, the power source can be adjusted to operate for as little as 20 seconds or as long as 10 minutes. The researchers successfully demonstrated their technology in a lab setting that mimicked real world
One of them
use.
swallowed it. Someone's had a nibble. That's what we say on the show. Someone has had a nibble.
You know when you're in primary school and you do that volcano experiment with the
vinegar and baking
Yes.
soda.
Yeah.
Same sort
That's
of
the same thing.
happened.
It's the exact same thing.
These researchers really just took that and ran with it for their careers.
Pretty well,
didn't they?
yeah.
They've made a robot out of it.
Yeah.
I'm imagining some child in grade 2 being like, wait, why aren't we doing more with this?
How in the world?
Just stopped in volcanoes.
Anyway, they think they can use it in the wild to maybe
In the wild.
to kill off wild pigs or whatever. You know, that's what they're thinking.
Oh, that's good, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Wild pigs or whatever.
But not leave a toxic trace.
I think that's actually a really good idea because, and I know this because Gabe went down a weird pig rabbit hole a couple of years ago about how they cull wild, like feral pigs.
Yes.
I feel like that's a good idea because part of it is that they can't learn, right? You can't learn. They'll learn very quickly about things. You wouldn't learn if it was a tiny little lemon meringue flavoured robot.
Tuna is
fish.
It's fish!
Thank God someone's working on this. I don't know what I'd do without it.
Fish are friends, not food.
Great start. Gabe, what does a cat say?
Yeah.
Max, what does a chicken say?
Cluck, cluck.
And Izzy, what does a shark say?
What are you doing?
What am I doing?
What are we doing?
I was
let's
singing
just
along.
Pack it in. What is happening to this show?
It's amazing. I mean, at one point, I am going to forget that I'm live on radio and sing that out loud when everyone's going to hear it, because it feels like can't tell you how much I'm holding back right now from that. But one of the things I don't hold back from because I love it so much is whale watching. I love whale watching. I love whales so much. When I lived in Sydney for a while, one of the things I found really interesting about the population in Sydney is that not many people knew you could watch whales just by looking at the ocean at any point in time during most of the middle of the year. But I also grew up on the Gold Coast where we see our whales very, very, very close. So I love whale watching. I've been doing it my whole life. But right now, there is an extra reason to look off the coast for a whale because one seems to be going the wrong way. And she should be pretty easy to spot because she's completely white. So let's get into it. Firstly, this is not Migaloo. I mean, you might have guessed because I said she and Migaloo's a he, but this is not Migaloo. Migaloo, in my opinion, is the white whale. He is our white whale. Migaloo was first sighted in 1991. He is a full adult male humpback whale, and he is completely white. I'm pretty sure that it's highly likely that he is an albino whale, but that is actually a genetic condition, so they'd need to test him to figure out if he is technically albino. But most scholars agree he's albino. He is fully white. And that, just so you know, albinism in humpbacks is incredibly rare. Incredibly rare. Only about 1 in every 40,000 humpbacks are born with albinism. And as a reminder, we only really hit that number of this population on the east coast of Australia very recently. So 1 in every 40,000 being albino. Migaloo is the one we know. Sad fact, we haven't seen Migaloo since 2020. And there's like loads of people who like Migaloo, people are looking for Migaloo. So we haven't seen him up since 2020. There was a maybe sighting of him off Kaikoura in Aotearoa a few months ago, but it hasn't been confirmed. So that's the news about Migaloo. Don't worry, I'm keeping up to date with our Migaloo news. But scientists have looked at tail fluke photos. So their fluke, the back of their tail essentially has these little bumps, and they're about as unique as fingerprints. So they've used photos of that from this whale to confirm that she is not Migaloo. She is Siale, who is a young female. Quite young, actually. She was actually only born last year in Vava'u in Tonga. Well, this says 2023, but it was, I think it was like early 2024. She's described as looking like a little iceberg against the ocean. She's just completely white, and she's really cute. She's a juvenile. She's young, so she's a very different size to Migaloo. Migaloo's a lot bigger. He's a fully grown bull, where she is a young calf. But yes, she is completely white. She's another albino whale. And obviously, when she was born in Vava'u last year or a year ago, everyone was very excited because you don't get these very often. So, we knew her name. She was identified pretty quickly. But unfortunately, everyone's excited about seeing her. She looked pretty happy, apparently. But unfortunately, she's going the wrong way. She was spotted swimming north off of Catherine Hill Bay and like the mid-central coast of New South Wales. And the problem with going north is that is the opposite direction to where she should be going right now. So normal humpback migrations look like this. Each year between April and November, after a summer of feeding on krill in the Antarctic waters, getting all fat and wonderful, humpbacks migrate north to subtropical waters, and they do this all over the Pacific, but for us, our local population go to about off the reef, essentially, where they mate and give birth. Now, this is a journey of over 10,000 kilometres, and overall it can take a single whale about 4 to 6 months to complete this. So the migration is incredibly important. It takes a really long time, so they have to eat a lot in Antarctica, and they have to sort of maintain their weight as they go. Now, the exact timing of the migration period varies from year to year depending on water temperature, sea ice, predation risk, prey abundance, the location of the feeding ground, and because there are so many whales now, they kind of tend to overlap. Like sometimes some whales are coming down while some are just coming up. It's not really like when you see birds or something and they all immediately stand up and leave at the same time. They're a bit more like us. They're a little more just going when they feel like it. But the majority of humpbacks in Australian waters migrate north from June to August and back south from September to November, because they have to go back to Antarctica to eat over the summer. That's when there's lots of krill there. It's where they put on all their weight. So it's really important, and especially for those new calves, when they're younger, when they're juveniles, they have to get back down there to eat and maintain their weight. So right now, Siale should be moving south towards the food. And scientists are actually really concerned because she's, quote, looking a little skinny. So they think she needs to turn around soon to reach the feeding grounds and gain weight over the summer. This is life and death now. She has to turn around. She's also been observed being close to the coast, which is really unusual behaviour for this time of year. Usually they'd be a little bit further out when they're on their own. So mums and bubs will be a bit closer because they take shelter, but juveniles or adults will be further off. So she shouldn't be that close to the coast on her own. The other thing that's really interesting here is she is on her own. So we know that whales travel in pods. Sometimes they're on their own. They're a bit flexible. But as an albino whale, while we think that they're wonderful and cool and they make them really easy, and the researchers love it, obviously, we love it because it makes them easier to spot, but being easier to spot also makes you more visible to predators. And she is not fully grown yet. So her being on her own and being super visible is actually not great. It means that she's really vulnerable to predators right now. And she's skinny, so she may not have a lot of energy. But now, if you're like me and you're worried about Siale's plight and you might want to help her, please do not approach her, chase her, or attempt to feed her. Do not get close. She's like every other whale. You have to stay your distance. And I mean really stay your distance. And honestly, with something like this, I'd stay even further away than you would with normal whales. Keep your distance. Do not go. If you see her, do not go close. What you should do if you see her is take so many photos. Take photos, take videos, take as much content of her as you possibly can, and then report them. Because the only reason we even know that this is happening and know that she's here is because people took photos of her and reported the photos to ORRCA, ORRCA, which is, to my knowledge, the Oceanic Research and Rescue of Cetaceans group. So essentially they go and rescue whales and dolphins from things like shark nets. They're a really cool group. They're wonderful. They do a lot of good work. But this is the sort of citizen science that can really be helpful because obviously it's a big ocean, and while she is pretty easy to spot, it's huge. She could be anywhere. So we kind of, if you do see a little white iceberg floating off of Brisbane, might clue you into it's not an iceberg. Take as many photos as you can. If you've got a drone, make sure you fly it very high. But if you're able to do things like that, I'm sure that sort of that knowledge is really useful. So take photos, but do not approach on a vessel. Let's all go see if we can spot Siale and turn her around.
In some unseen footage. Did you see those dolphins that greeted them when they landed?
Mm-hmm.
Well, apparently some were seen leaving Earth and saying so long and thanks for all the fish.
Oh my god. I was wondering where you were going.
Oh my god.
So you tune into 4ZZZ, and the show is No Idea, your weekly dose of science with me, Max. We've got Issy, we've got Gabe, and we've got this.
Okay, it's time for the best part of the show. Loosely defined as science, yeah, you already know. Everybody listens to 4ZZZ just to hear us talking about what Butters just did. Subscriptions just keep rolling like the tires on a car. But something tells me that our science curves won't go far. But unlike an engine, I won't keep you in suspension. We're all here to hear him talk, so let's give him attention. You're not ready for when he starts rapping. Gonna hand the mic to Max, and I'm not talking Van Stappen.
F1. The Mexican driver Sergio Perez has been seen doing some laps, driving around in a black F1 Ferrari.
Yes.
A bit of F1 practice in an older car before he starts driving for Cadillac next year. The Cadillac F1 cars will use Ferrari power units, hence the connection with Ferrari. For this weekend in Las Vegas, Williams will also be using a black livery just before Cadillac comes on the scene.
Yeah,
they might as well get it in now. Yeah, that's right. The FIA and F1 stakeholders have agreed starting next year that the livery on F1 cars needs to cover at least 55% of the car. This is to stop teams from showing bare carbon fibre because they want to save weight, obviously. Paint adds weight, making the cars look similar as well with all the black carbon fibre. The 55% coverage should hopefully make it easier for the viewer to distinguish between teams. There was also a proposal to allow drivers to change their racing number. So say if you're Oscar Piastri, even though it's number 81, it could be this, Issy.
69.
It is!
It is?
It is! But we'll see what goes on with that. And in the ongoing discussion of mandating a minimum of 2 pit stops per race per car. Audi announced this week they have stopped development of their 2026 F1 power unit and will start developing their 2027 power unit. And it's a pretty bold statement for the Germans. They haven't even done a lap yet. Also this week, Alpine's power and unit factory was broken into. They say nothing was stolen, but there may have been some intel copied because Alpine was quite bullish on how good their 2026 power unit was performing. Unfortunately, the Alpine power unit project was recently cancelled by parent company Renault. So the Alpine F1 cars will be Mercedes-powered starting next year. Okay, Izzy, you told me about this. Aussie Oscar Piastri has been awarded the Don.
Yes.
The Don Award was introduced by the Sport Australia Hall of Fame in 1998 and is awarded annually by the Sport Australia Hall of Fame Selection Committee to honour a current Australian athlete or team who, by their achievements and example in the last 12 months, have most inspired the nation. The 24-year-old is the first F1 driver to win the Don. Finally, a couple of birthday shout-outs. McLaren's Lando Norris, he turns 26. And former Red Bull boss Christian Horner turns 52. F1 Academy. McLaren has announced that they will be sponsoring 2 cars in the all-female category next year. The 2 drivers will be Ella Stevens and Ella Lloyd.
Yes, the Ellas.
McLaren has also signed Ella Häkkinen, daughter of 2-time F1 world champion Mika Häkkinen, as part of the McLaren driver development program. The 14-year-old, who's one of 9 karters supported by F1 Academy Discover Your Drive in the Champions of the Future Academy program, has become the youngest talent in their junior roster and will be testing single-seaters in preparation for a 2027 debut.
Yes.
You must have to be a certain age, I guess, to race, like 16 and above. Or,
yes.
Yeah.
There's been a few 15-year-olds as well who have come through, but different countries have different restrictions. And it's just like what we were seeing with Kimi Antonelli, where didn't really have his actual license, but he had his super license. So there's a few loopholes in there. But yes, around 16 is what you're looking at.
Okay, it is this weekend the last round of the F1 Academy.
It is finishing off in Las Vegas.
Yeah, and there are 2 drivers in contention to be crowned F1 Academy champion. We've got the Mercedes-back Dorian Pun and Ferrari-sponsored Maya Woog.
Yes, it's very, very exciting to see what goes down.
Yeah.
Because no doubt they'll be racing during the day as well, whilst the Las Vegas race will be doing, it's winter over there, but we'll see how those desert temperatures hold up as well for the cars. So very exciting to watch this race. And of course, it's the final round.
I think Maya Woog is going to win it.
I think Maya is as well.
Just coming off really good form.
I have a soft spot for Dorian though, because this is her last. You only get 2 years in F1 Academy. This is her last year. Yeah. So if she doesn't take this title next year, if you win F1 Academy, your next year is basically paid.
Right.
So you don't have to pay it out of pocket. So if she doesn't end up, Dorian doesn't take the win, then the next year she could go anywhere, but she would have to pay for it. So ideally, she does win this championship. But I think also similar stakes for Maya as well, having 2 years in this competition.
Okay.
So it's quite exciting. It's
the only way you can get new blood into it, though.
Exactly. Yeah. So we'll see how we go.
Okay. Supercars happened on the weekend. It was in Melbourne. It was at Sandown Race Circuit. It was the semi-final playoff races, number 30 and 31. Saturday's race saw forwards Chaz Mostert win. Sunday's race was won by Chevrolet driver Brock Feeney. By winning, both Mostert and Feeney automatically go into the finals to be held in Adelaide. The other 2 drivers eligible for the finals, the final 4, Will Brown and Kai Allen. Only one of these 4 drivers will be crowned Supercar champion for 2025 at the last race, which will be held on the weekend starting the 27th. And MotoGP also happened on the weekend. It was in Spain. Marco Bezzecchi won the feature race with Aussie Jack Miller finishing in the top 10. He finished in 9th. So well done, Jack Miller.
Very good. Bezzecchi is they've wrapped up the championship now. Bezzecchi is finished 3rd. Alex Marquez 2nd and Marc Marquez 1st. The Marquez brothers taking 1 and 2, as I think they were expected to do for most of the season. In MotoGP. Pretty good. Next Formula 1 race, Max, is this weekend.
It is.
Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And then the Siale GP is the following weekend, end of November, in Abu Dhabi, and there's Supercars on that weekend as well in Adelaide for the grand final.
Cool.
It's lights out and away we go.
F1. Job done.
Yep, that's been MotoRap.
Yeah,
I'm sure someone on the text line would appreciate that short and sweet MotoRap.
That's right, the new form MotoRap.
Yeah.
You tune into 4ZZZ, and the show is No Idea with me, Max. We've got Gabe, we've got Peta. Issy, what do you got for us?
I am going to purposely redact the Z number for this study because I am talking about something that I have seen.
Which one? The 0420 number? Or?
Because I'm going to be talking about vegan pet diets. This is something I've seen in contention on TikTok, especially being a dog owner. You see a variety of people doing the plate up my dog's dinner with me, and it's typically raw food or it's typically some sort of diet that someone is in disagreement, and there's always fighting in the comments. So I'm going to be taking to the science today. Published in Animals, the journal this month, a survey of dog and cat guardians were taken worldwide to understand how they perceive more sustainable pet food options. These
but critically, it is not saying whether those pet food options are good for the pets or they are sustainable. It's
or
perceptions of
how they perceive them. So there are some interesting research connections as well in this. There's no external funding, but I'll get into it. These studies are some of the first in the matter, and it was conducted by Griffith University, QS ranking, Griffith University, Brisbane.
I always forget.
It's 200. It's 210.
Close, Max, 263, although I think that's closer to Gabe, and Murdoch University.
Oh wait, no, we've looked at this before. It's not actually him.
No, it's not. It's no relation.
Just an unfortunate name.
No relation to the dynasty.
I have not a clue. 700 to 750.
150.
Oh, 423. So 2 papers were released. One focused on dogs and one focused on cats. In the dog paper, 2,639 dog guardians were surveyed, with about 84% of respondents currently feeding their dogs either conventional or raw meat-based diets. However,
only 24%.
84, darling.
Oh, good. Sorry, I heard that wrong, and I was like, that's
okay.
Crazy.
However, 43% of this group reported they would consider one type of more sustainable dog food, such as a vegan diet, a vegetarian diet, and a cultivated meat formulation diet. Amongst the alternative option, the most acceptable was cultivated meat-based food, which had real animal meat produced by growing animal cells in a controlled environment, i.e. a lab, which was chosen
beef-fed grain.
Which was chosen by 24% of the respondents, compared to vegetarian and vegan, which was 17 and 13% respectively. I want to emphasize talking about cultivated meat formulations because this is an emerging industry, and it refers to food that is lab-grown and typically cell-cultivated. It is banned in Italy and Alabama and Florida in the US. So quite a contentious industry. Yeah. It's still in its infancy. It was only this year actually that the first kind of shop was opened in London that sold cultivated meat pet food. So it is something
pet food's such a good place for it to go because they don't care about texture.
So I do want to emphasize when they're talking in the study about how good this is, it is an expensive option and it is a very limited option. So just a little tidbit. Motivations for feeding alternative dog food from the dog guardians can involve superior health outcomes, improved sustainability, and or reduced ethical concerns surrounding the use of, quote, food animals. However, concerns in some of these areas remain for diets based on insects or raw meat. So a lot to unpack there, but these are all perceptions. So these are all what people have personally consumed, not really necessarily consulting with vets.
Experts. And it's not like they gave them vet opinions and then went, what do you think of these opinions? No, what do you think of this actual understanding of how animals work? They went, just based on what you've seen on, probably TikTok. What do you think?
In the survey, they also spoke a little bit about pet food behaviors as well with respective dogs and cat owners and whether or not they divulge from vet consults or whether or not they're just kind of doing their own thing. So it's very interesting in seeing, what's the media's influence as well, especially with animal byproducts that are used in pet food. Anyway, jumping into the cat paper, 1,380 cat guardians had an unsurprising 89% of the guardians feeding their cats conventional or raw meat-based food diets, which is unsurprising. Cats are typically carnivores?
They're obligate carnivores. So all cats are obligate carnivores. That means that they must eat meat to survive. They cannot digest or get anything from any plant material.
However,
so it's a bit different than dogs.
Yes. However, 51% of the group considered at least one of the more sustainable options to be acceptable, with the most popular alternatives those based on cultivated diets, followed by nutritionally sound vegan diets. Now, I do want to talk about the typical, the nutritionally sound vegan diets. Emphasis on nutritionally sound.
Yeah, how is that even possible?
They are made up by ingredients such as plants, algae, fungi, cultivated lab-grown meat that we've talked about, proteins from fermented microorganisms, and potentially insects. They also specifically exclude any animal products. They're normally based on plants as well as mineral and synthetic supplements, but also can include algae, fungi, and microbial proteins. So a lot more science going into it. And
yeah, I mean, I'd really need to see solid evidence of health outcomes with that before, as someone who has had cats before, I would not just jump into that without real backing to it.
And also just talking, it sounds expensive. And if you own an animal, you know they typically gnaw through quite a lot of food, depending on their type, of course, but it may not be something that a lot of people can financially afford, even with their best intentions. Both studies found guardians who themselves reduced or avoided meat. They were more specifically open to alternative diets for their pets, as well as those with higher educational qualifications. So interesting stats about demographics. Additionally, evidence suggests that the pet guardians care about all types of animals and have a higher concern for animal welfare than the general population. This was also coined in in few studies as the vegetarian dilemma. So owning a pet, how do you feed said pet if they do consume meat? They also found that age and regional differences were also apparent, with older consumers and those from the UK often less open to alternatives than those in European nations, North America or Oceania, although those differences were often not significant. So very interesting kind of almost layout of opinions. I do want to note that some of the researchers came from the Sustainable Food Foundation, animal welfare groups, and also from other sort of animal welfare research groups. So, of course, take it with a little grain of salt. And
there will be a bit of bias there.
There will be a little bit of bias, but it would be interesting to kind of have a look at the general landscape of pet food, especially as we move into a warming climate, and also as we kind of examine. I spoke a little bit off air about food allergies. I know a lot of people who have celiac who do put their dogs on gluten-free diets to minimize any sort of like contact dermatitis that they may receive from their dog licking them and etc.
Makes sense.
So it would be really interesting to see what emerging science comes out of this area. But yes,
I'd love to know how they phrase the questions, because to me, if the question is, would you put your cat on a vegan diet, compared to would you put your cat on a diet that did not have any animal proteins but was proven to be safe for them to consume, that's a very different question. Because if someone just asked me if I would put my cat on a vegan diet, my first answer would honestly be no, because all my background in animal ecology and knowledge says that they cannot eat that. There was good solid science that said that they could eat it and be healthy, then of course that's a great thing. So there's a big difference in the weight of evidence behind the feeds, I think, that makes a difference in people's opinions.
The only question that they asked about was, where do ex-guardians source information about X diets from?
That's interesting,
Which is interesting. So it didn't give the respondent an opportunity to cite any sources, just kind of asked generally.
Right.
And it was whether or not they consulted really with a vet or not. So
I mean, for me, it would be peer-reviewed science, which is a privilege because a lot of it's behind a paywall now. But I would need to see good peer-reviewed science, and I'd need to talk to a vet about my specific animal and whether it's going to work.
Yes.
I just think if you're responsible for an animal, like I like how they call them guardians in this actually, and not owners, because you're a guardian, you should be looking after them. So it is your responsibility. You can't just go, oh, well, I'd like them to be vegetarian, so I'm going to make them vegetarian. You need to make sure that it's the right thing for your pet, because they can't consent. So it's really important that I think people are making these choices with looking at expert knowlge and backing, not just on a whim.
That's my kind of story.
I think it's very interesting. It's good to know that people are looking into this.
What do you got for us, Gabe?
Max, what I've got for you is a little experiment. It's been a while since I used you as my guinea pigs, so I'm gonna give this a go. I'm going to play for you some music that sounds a bit like this.
I hate harpsichords.
That's what you're gonna get. Just a bit of bark, not the tree, not the dog. The composer bark. And what I want you to do while I'm playing these next few clips is if you're not driving or doing open heart surgery or something like that, pick a point on the wall and focus. You three, pick a point of the wall and focus. And then during this clip, something's going to happen. There's going to be a weird change in the pitch of the notes. It's going to sound like a wrong note. And when that happens, I just want you don't need to shout it out or anything. I just want you to tap your finger, mentally mark when that happens. You ready?
My eye twitched.
Did you okay?
Yeah.
Did we get it? Oh,
Yeah.
who could have guessed?
Did you get it?
Yeah, we did get it.
Okay. Do you want to go again? One more?
Yeah.
Sure.
How'd you go?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah. What are you laughing at?
Because it makes me wince.
Was it too easy?
Yeah, too easy.
A little,
Well,
I think.
tell me, team. When we're talking about psychology studies, what's my one rule?
You can't know what the study is.
You're never getting tested for what they tell you about.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
I
you never
should have known. Oh.
So with that in mind, I can tell you that the tapping when you heard something weird was simply a task to keep you focused during our little experiment.
It's like in magic.
What I really want to know is how were you blinking while listening to that music?
I actually thought about this because I knew when I heard the thing, I winced and I went like this.
Yeah.
I blinked a lot. Sorry for people who are listening. For the team that can see me, I went like this. And I was like wincing and winking a lot.
Yeah.
Max, Izzy, did you notice you're blinking at all?
No.
Think about your eyelids a lot, team.
Not really. Yeah.
This study comes to us from the University of Chinese Academy of Sciences, QS ranking.
864.
150.
That I have one.
And there's also the Chinese University of Hong Kong.
gosh.
210.
Hong Kong. 280.
It's 362 and 32.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God. Yes, I knew the Hong Kong one would be high.
And it was published in the journal PLOS Biology. They had 123 young adults, women and men, 18 to 34 years of age. They graded them all for how musical they are on something called the Goldsmith Musical Sophistication Index.
Yes.
That's such a read. I never want to know where I fall
Because they
on
didn't
that.
want musicians. They had to get them out. They didn't want musicians. So none of these were on the high end of what would be considered, a high musicality. They're all pretty standard level of musicality. And they pulled clips from 10 musical pieces from the 371 four-part chorales by Johann Sebastian Bach. And then they put them through 4 experiments. They split the cohort up into 4. And they each got one of 4 different experiments. What you sampled was a little bit of the third one of those experiments, where they.
I thought you were going to say the third symphony of 1768. All right, pop off, King. Someone's high on the sophistication scale.
There were a bit of differences across the experiments, but in general, the participants had to do something like stare at a white cross on a screen, a black screen in front of them. I told you to focus on something
I used to
in front
hate
of
doing
you.
that in psych studies.
And then they played some sort of music.
And they film them at the same time, I guess.
Exactly right. The researchers recorded when they blinked. They also, in some of the experiments, had them hooked up to monitor their brain activity.
Oh, okay.
Oh, fun. I want to do that. Why didn't you do that with us?
I tried, but I couldn't get the funding.
Couldn't find Max's
Bring it
brain.
up with 4 management.
And all his arms.
Please subscribe so we can get EKGs in this.
What they found was that participants' blinks sync up with the beat of the music.
Yeah.
Oh, not even with the off note.
So while you were listening to that music, it is very likely that your blinks were on beat.
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm a very rhythmic person.
Not only that, but the brainwaves of the people in the study also aligned with the music. So a pretty amazing link that they're finding here between hearing music and our oculomotor system.
Sorry, then why can't some people clap on the beat?
The system that controls the movement of
they
our
can blink.
eyes. Because this is involuntary. Well, they talk about there are different, we can tap our foot along with music, bob your head at a concert, clap, or not clap in time
Lots of
with the
people
music
can't clap.
at a concert, but there's involuntary movements that are affected as well when we hear music. The other results they found was that when they played some of the clips backwards to see if it was just people being familiar with the music, it still worked. Participants weren't responding to familiar music cues. They were responding to the inherent beat in that music and were blinking a long time. They also did a version where they stripped the melody out and just played the rhythm of the notes.
Humans love a sine wave.
And in that, the blinking was even more on beat, but it still worked with the melody, like you heard. That like they were still happening there. And there wasn't a big statistical difference or between the stuff with the melody and the stuff without. The only thing they could do that disrupted this synchronization between people's blinking and the music they were hearing was giving them an unrelated task. So I gave you a task focused on the music, but in the fourth experiment, they asked people to focus on the screen, on that little white cross, and then there's the white cross would turn into a red circle, a red dot at different points.
And they had to click
And at
when it
some
was a red
point,
dot.
and they in the experiment going into this, they had one group who were getting the red dot on beat, and then they gave them the red dot off beat, and they were all thinking, okay, when we give it on beat, we're going to get more blinking on beat, and when we give it off beat, we'll get less blinking on beat.
But no.
And what they found was the red dot just threw people off entirely because it gave people something to focus on that wasn't the music. It was a visual thing to focus on, and so it pulled the blinking out of sync with the music.
So is that why people can't clap on beats? Because they're not focusing on the music?
It could be that they're focused on there's the visual stuff going on as well.
Listen, people, I'm not here to hear you clap off beat. I've just learned that you can all blink on beat. So if you can blink on beat, you can clap on beat. Listen.
So the focus on the music was key, is what they found. And they're really keen to use this in future research because it's this way of monitoring someone's response to music, in particular the response to the beat of music, the rhythm and of the music, without actually asking them for it, without having to open Schrodinger's box and see if the cat's really inside. You can involuntarily monitor someone's response to the music just by monitoring their blinking and telling them to do something else, like tap when they hear the wrong note. And you could use this as a way of looking into how people process the rhythms, about musicality,
Fixing people's ability to process rhythms.
Fixing people's ability.
Really what I'm focused on
It could
here.
go into behavioural therapy that is so important for lots of different
Polygraphs.
types of, sure,
It's
Max.
probably really useful for the
Polygraphs.
what's it called? The light therapy where you follow a light with a rhythm and it like completely. Have you heard of this?
EMR, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And it's
EM.
essentially just like light, and it's a light that blinks on either side of a screen, and it completely resets your brain.
Right.
It's crazy. So rhythms are in
It is pretty
everything.
cool.
That's what I got for you, Max.
Thanks for that.
That was very cool.
We're getting some texts in, Gabe.
About the blinking, yeah. I think Stephen would have been kicked out of the experiments. I was consciously not blinking. I was thinking it would move my gaze up and down or bum on the bum notes and ruin the focus of the experiment. Just staring at the dot on the screen, not blinking at all. Yeah, good stuff, Max. We got some space news coming up.
We do. We've got some space news. Let's play it. No idea. Space news. Researchers from the University of Sydney QS ranking.
Oh, God.
Oh, this one's 18?
30.
19.
It was.
No, that was last year.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
31.
21.
25.
Yeah.
Have developed a software solution to fix image blurring on one of James Webb Space Telescope's instruments, the Aperture Masking Interferometer, or AMI. The fix was achieved through coding because it would be nearly impossible to go and visit it because it's like a million kilometres out. Unless you're Ryan...
you don't want it to have a hardware issue.
Unless you're Ryan Gosling, because he's got his film coming out next year called Project Hail Mary, but that's another story. The AMI instrument was producing slightly blurry images due to the detector issue called brighter, fatter effect. University of Sydney PhD students Louis Desdos and Max Charles created a software model named Amigo. This AI-powered tool predicts and corrects the blurring during the post-processing of images, improving their clarity without any hardware changes. The software fix has restored the full precision of the AMI instrument, enabling sharper images and expanding the telescope's scientific capabilities. And just from memory, New Glenn flew recently, their second flight. This is part of Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin setup. New Glenn nailed the booster return on a second outing. It landed on the barge down range. So that's pretty cool. So now we've got two players in an industry which have reusable boosters, which is a bit of fun. They still have to get on the second stage, get that going, make it reusable like Starship, like SpaceX is trying to do.
So we've got the
I have some space
disposable
news
part.
that I saw this week.
Yeah.
I don't know. I did not look into the actual maths of this because I can't, to be honest. I don't think I can understand it. But I saw a headline that said, physicists have confirmed that the universe is not a simulation.
Correct. Yeah, they did it through maths.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Thanks, physicists. You guys are out there doing some... Do you ever feel like, as a scientist, you look at other areas of science, like I do, marine science, ecology, that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I feel like I look at other areas and it feels like looking into like the glass at a zoo or something. And they're all just running around doing things. I'm like, I don't understand any of this. Like, I'm so lost, but like, good for you guys. I feel like I'm like clapping outside the glass, being like, yeah, good, awesome. So glad the universe isn't a simulation. Didn't know we could answer that question, but cool. Great. Good job.
That's how I feel. I've got friends doing honours in chemistry and physics. And so we caught up for drinks last week post-exams. And I was like, yeah, what are your honour projects talking about? And they're talking about supercomputers. Yeah. And I'm like, cool. But
that's great.
But I did see that headline as well. I think it's super sick.
Yeah, cool.
So
good on you, physicists.
Good on you, Goof.
Okay. You tuned into 4ZZZ, and the show is No Idea with me, Max, Issy, Peta. Let us know, Gabe. What do we got to know?
Max, we've been talking so much food in this episode.
Unplanned.
Food-related, whale stuff, dog food.
Siale needs food.
Everything needs food.
Everything needs food. You heard it here first on No Idea.
Exactly right. So I had a quick look at the journal Appetite, Max. Just to see what it's been going through.
Okay, yeah.
And there's a new paper out, just published paper out from Flinders University in South Australia, which QS ranking is, of course,
65.
88.
387. That's
Of course it is. That's exactly what we all thought.
And what they've found is that eating alone may lead to lower nutrition from the food you get. They've collated findings from 20 studies from around the world of 80,000 over 65-year-olds across 12 countries and found that relationship between eating alone and measurable health outcomes, and it may be linked to poorer diet quality, reduced intake of key food groups such as fruit, vegetables, and meat, and increase of weight loss and frailty. What they didn't look into, Max, though, was if just eating with No Idea running on in the background.
We'll keep you company. We'll keep you company.
Increase the nutrition you're getting from your food, If you need that little bit of extra nutrition with your food, if you need that warm inner glow that you can only get while 4ZZZ is running in the background, you can subscribe to keep us running on air. What have you got for us, Max?
Yes, if you want to subscribe to this interactive radio show, No Idea, you can go to our website at 4zzz.org.au/support. If you're under 18, $25. If you're a pet, like a goldfish, $25. Concession, $40. A full subscription annually, $80. And a passionate, $140. Or super sub, get your name written downstairs for $500. And you can subscribe to, and just make sure you say that our show is
your favourite.
We've got a monthly prize.
We do have a monthly prize. It goes so well with food. It's Dave's Wine Revival that has moved just downstairs from us. Downdoors from us. They are providing a November subscriber prize giveaway worth $500, a wine tasting for 6, and a mixed case of 12 wines, small batches made with no middlemen, no major stores. They are just giving out those local wines to pair with some of your best food praise, like your dog food or your sunflower mints.
Sign us out, Gabe.
That is all we have time for. We'll be back in your ears next week. Between now and then, blink on beat. Keep an eye out for Siale. Don't fret the lab-grown meat in your dog food. And thank Amigo for those sharp snaps of the starry sky. You can subscribe at 4ZZZ.org.au, which is also where you can listen back to the full recording of this show with all the music, as well as a bunch of our previous shows. The condensed version is on whatever podcaster you use. Just search for No Idea 4ZZZ.
And we'll speak to you next week.
Later. Bye.
I'm a goddamn marvel of modern science.